Finally, today we can say that we have a captain. It's over with the rotation of the armband. I was asking to Thiago Motta to go in front of microphones and telling us one name. He did it today. And also in press conference, he confirmed something that I'm telling you and repeating you since now months, if not even years. I was extremely happy to hear about that from Thiago Motta. I will reveal you in a second the press conference that today I can tell you every single topic that he spoke about was extremely interesting because I have the sub-questions. I'm questioning myself about the answers. Are they correct? Are they not correct? I will tell you everything, so stay with me until the end of the video, because before that, squad list, predicted lineup, and if it is correct or not in that predicted lineup to put some Mbangula, that was one of the best ones in the last 2 games, on the bench. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, you know it. If you want to hear about Mercato, go back on the video of this morning, otherwise you stay here because we have extremely important things to speak about. The first thing is, mamma mia, when I'm looking at the squad list that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I'm going totally crazy. Wow, 23 names, 3 goalkeepers plus 20 field players, which means 11 are playing, so 10 field players and 10 on the bench. Mamma mia, that's really beautiful. If I'm looking at the offensive players, Conceição, Vlahovic, Yildiz, Gonzalez, Nico, Adzic, Kolo, Muani, Nunes, Wea, and Mbangula, that's already 8 offensive players. Even if Adzic, we need to understand what is his real position in this Juventus, or at least in the eyes of Thiago Motta, Hugo, etc. But that's a lot, huh? A lot offensively, a lot in the midfield, a bit less in the defense, even if Alberto Costa will be called up for a second time consecutively. The last time against Milan, he didn't enter the field. Will he be able to do it against Napoli? Big question mark. One that is nearly sure to play, it is Kolo Muani, as anticipated yesterday, the day before. And I always told you, against Milan, if the paperwork was done, he should have played from the start. Well, he missed that game. Tomorrow, big chances that he will play. So the lineup that is predicted from a lot of sources is Di Gregorio into the goal, McKennie on the right side as a right back, Gatti, Kalulu, Cambiaso on the left, 3 men in the midfield, then depend how they will play, but Koopmeiners, Locatelli, Thuram, Yildiz, Nico Gonzalez, attenzione, so Yildiz on the right, Nico Gonzalez on the left, and up front, Kolo Muani. You will tell me, Beppe, we don't understand why not Douglas Luiz. Beppe, we don't understand why not Mbangula, that if we are looking at the last games, Bruges, Milan, he has always been MVP voted by the community and also with the trophy in his hand, for example, after the Milan game. Why is he not playing? Well, from what I know, or from what I started to analyze, it makes sense. Unpopular, I will tell you, but it makes sense. Because if you're looking at that lineup, there are 2 works. The attacking one and the defending one. We are playing against a Napoli that is extremely deadly when they go in that positive transition. In this counter-attack, they really put a lot of work there. Aggressive, containing there, not giving any space, they recuperate the ball with aggressivity and they go up. So we need really to pay attention. Offensively, if we attack with these players, we see a big work from Yildiz with his right foot on that right side that can really go or straight cross, or he can go and enter the field with his left foot. We know that regardless, Kenan Yildiz is able to shot with the 2 feet. On the other side, Nico Gonzalez that is doing not the same work, because Nico Gonzalez is not really one that goes on the line, but or he can go with the ball and going a bit centrally up front, or he can go behind the striker, that in that moment would be Kolo Muani. We see Cambiaso that can go up more wide on the left, but pushing a bit higher, like Weston McKennie with a Locatelli that would drop back to form that 3-man defense, or a Cambiaso without the ball that can do the movement to go and make the midfield a bit stronger. These are the offensive movements, without speaking about Koopmeiners and Thuram, that can potentially go into the space. But it's also a defensive work that is extremely important for that balance against Napoli. And that's where we see Yildiz on the right, that a lot of time we saw, even when he was playing on the left, he knows already McKennie, because they play together on that left side. They play together in Supercoppa, I believe, on the right side. Yildiz that can track back Yildiz that is offering a big work there on the side in not only thinking offensively but also defensively. Nico Gonzalez can potentially do the same, especially if we know that Cambiasi is a player that loves to move when he has the possibility, or wide or entering the field, and a Locatelli that drops back. So it's two different positions, but I will also tell you a bit more before speaking about the press conference. What do we see here? That we already have the changes, and that's where I think it makes sense to put Mbangula on the bench and also Conceição, because imagine you can put these two players in the second half with fresh legs. These players, the two of them, are absolutely unpredictable. They can go wide, they can go straight, they can enter with the ball, without the ball. They can also put crosses in case of need with Kolo Muani, or with a player like Nico Gonzalez that could possibly move in that number 9 position, or with the Dusan Vlahovic that can possibly enter. We have a lot of chances. These players can change the game in case we are losing. They can change the game if we are doing 1-1, 0-0, if you really need to unlock the game, or even if we are winning, to actually put pressure on Napoli so that they don't attack too much. So I go with, okay, it's a really good lineup. Then you tell me Douglas Luiz or Koopmeiners. I know this is an endless debate. I didn't really put Douglas Luiz because we know it. I would not risk it with Koopmeiners. We know that Koopmeiners is always playing. Then if there is a surprise tomorrow, I don't know. Second part of the video, press conference. Listen carefully because a lot of topics has been said, and I hope you will enjoy them. I enjoyed. I watched twice the press conference because it was important. I tell you, nearly after everything that he said, I had another question, a sub-question, if I would have been there, but I was not there. So the first thing is, again, we see a Thiago Motta that is, again, mentioning every single question or every possible moment the concept of winning. Winning is important, the victory, etc., etc. Something that after that Supercoppa against Milan press conference, we heard every single time. I'm sure that if you meet Thiago Motta in the street today of Torino and you ask him, "Ciao Thiago, how are you? What did you eat this morning at breakfast?" He will tell you winning. Winning is important. We need to win. We must win. The jokes aside, but it's good. At least it's entering here and it goes there. So the supporters are happy so that the players, that winning concept is entering the mind. I love that. Good, good, good. At least he understood that at Juve, saying, and even if I always defended the words of Thiago, saying he meant something else, when the concept of it's not an obsession goes out at Juve, it's not really appreciated. Anyway, he came back on the post words of Bruges. You remember when we were all interpreted it as a criticism on the strikers, the offensive players that were playing, except of Mbangula, which he mentioned that did a really great work. Look, he came back on these words. So looks like also what I believe, that Juventus is helping him in pay attention, Thiago. If you say these words, look at the impact that it has. So he needs also there to be a bit help, and I believe that really communication of Juve is helping there. He said, I didn't criticize my players. Never I would do that. If you go back in all the press conferences, I never criticized my player. I would never, except if they are lacking in behavior, but from that point of view, my players are impeccable. So he's saying, if they are not good in behavior, I will criticize them, but they are impeccable, so I never criticize them. What I was actually saying was a recall, because I know the potential, the value that these players, they have, so I know that I can extract sometimes more. And then he went towards something that not a lot of people spoke about, but he said, I know that sometimes it's a bit difficult for themselves to express themselves. For things happening on and off the field. What is he referring to? If we are thinking twice, he was a player. He says, in some moments it's difficult for them to express themselves for on and on the field. Speaking about Mercato. He's clearly speaking about Mercato voices that are entering in the head of some players. A Cambiaso, a Dusan Vlahovic, for example, and other players. That's what he's referring to. And maybe other things that happened that we don't know about, or some things that they read, for example, the criticism on Dusan Vlahovic, or players that should start and are not starting, the position of some players, or maybe even a Koopmeiners, which is correctly, I believe, criticized on the performance that he's giving, but he's speaking a lot about that. So that means also that he wishes that the Mercato is over really soon, because we see that we have a team that is extremely young, the second youngest team of Serie A, that maybe is not trained yet to receive all that media attention, being in the eye of Mercato, in the interest of huge big team like Manchester City. And indirectly, without mentioning the word mercato, is telling us that we have a team that is at the moment young and not mature enough to deal with these situations. He also spoke about the difference between Napoli and Juve. He said, look, different project, different starting project. We all know that, and De Laurentiis spoke about it, that he was approached by Napoli before joining Juve. They were really interested in Thiago Motta. De Laurentiis said it, that I approached them and look at how good he's doing at Bologna. Means that I'm a genius because I identified how great Thiago Motta was before everyone. Probably he's watching the channel. But anyway, we know that he knew perfectly the project of Napoli. He knew perfectly the project of Juve. He has decided to join Juve, a starting project with a lot of changes in the team that he said were necessary to change all these players, or a lot of them that we changed. But he says it. He confirms also that he was close to Napoli and that it's a total different project. Don't forget, it's true that Napoli last year they were 10th or 12th, I don't even remember. But it was a Scudetto winning team without too many changes, that is ready to compete with one competition only, with a coach that was ready for that moment, that is Antonio Conte. He didn't want to compare too much. But pay attention, because he was again harsh with one journalist. And this is something that I said, I believe, months ago. I said, Thiago, things are going well. Don't be that cold. Don't be that harsh with journalists that most of the time in that press conference, so far at that specific moment, they were not even harsh with him. They were not even putting him in difficulty. But I said, because the day that the things will go bad, probably they will start also to write against you instead of in favor of you. We are at that moment, guys. Huh? And again, harsh for simple questions. There is a question from a journalist that is asking, can you really tell us about the difference of points between Juve and Napoli? Is there really a difference in value of the team that is worth 13 points? He's not answering that question, or at least not correctly. He speaks about that Napoli deserves to be first. He's saying that they have a good coach. He's totally honest on that. They deserve to be there, to be first, blah, 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 blah. But he's not answering about the difference of gap of 13 points between the two values of the team, which the journalist is asking him, is interrupting him, and saying, but I was asking about the difference in value, where he goes really, really harsh on telling him, look, this is not a discussion. You ask your question, I answer. Thiago, with all the respect, I like you, great, and I'm sure you're a fantastic person. But in press conference, if there is no need to, don't be that harsh. When there is need, I love that you are defending our team, that you are putting your face to defend Juventus. But when there is no need, it makes no sense. Pay attention, we move on because it's nearly over. Hierarchies, and here correctly we go towards the Dusan Vlahovic situation. He didn't answer that question either. He said Kolo, Muani and Nico Gonzalez, they can also play on the wings. Dusan played a lot. He came back from injury. He entered in the last few games. Let's see if tomorrow he starts or not. Now, I'm not sure about that answer. I put that answer in doubt because here he's coming with, he came back from injury. While after the Milan game that we won, he said, no, we did a technical, tactical choice to keep Dusan on the bench. It's not about the injury. So or one is correct or the other one is correct, but it makes no sense. I told them back then, I said, Thiago, if you're a bit smart, there was no need to say technical choice about Dusan Vlahovic. Just put it on the injury. Say, true or not, just say he come back from injury. He has not 90 minutes in his leg at the moment. We will see in the next few games. At least you pushed that problem, maybe even until the end of the Mercato. But no, he went with the big words, technical, tactical choice, and today he's readdressing a bit. Like he's readdressing a bit the words of Post Bruges that he was pissed off with the strikers. So, looks like really, he says something and then he thinks about it, he says, what did I say? And he comes back on it the week after. That's what I felt about today's press conference and about the last press conferences. He loved one question from Camilo Di Michelis, ciao Camilo, that from time to time is watching us, that said, do I have a lot of choices? Yes. Is that putting me in difficulty? Well, he said it pains me to bench players that sometimes deserve to play, but I'm the coach, I need to make some choices. I really like that question. That was the first time that he liked the question. Bravo, Thiago, but especially bravo to Camillo that asked a good question. And then we finish with the last question, because it was in chronology also the last one, but it was the first thing that we spoke about in the intro of this video. Locatelli. Importance of the locker room, importance of captaincy, etc., where he said, look, extremely important for the locker room, Locatelli. He took that captaincy band in a very natural way. So he's telling it, and he said, I'm really happy about that. So telling us we have a captain finally. Then, when he's not playing, we can have a rotation about that armband, no problem. But the captain is Manuel Locatelli. Finally, I told you. I didn't care who it was. I had, of course, a will. I wanted Locatelli to be it, but I didn't care. I just wanted clarity. I wanted big words from Thiago saying this is now the captain after Danilo left. Because the team needs it, because I need it, because everyone needs a point of reference, and that's what he did today. Then he continued to speak. He said, look, Locatelli, Manuel, is a player that is putting himself in difficulty for the good of the team. Now, because we saw all the stats, etc., of this season, you watch him playing in that position a bit more defensively, and you already say, wow. But he could do even better if he would play a bit more up on the field. But he sacrificed himself a lot. The team first. He never complains. Perfect behavior. I like this a lot, and this is what I'm asking from everyone. What did I told you since a lot of years? Manu Locatelli, it's not the player where the qualities from a day to another totally disappeared. A lot of times we saw him, or I saw him, sacrificing himself and his position and his way of playing with Allegri to help the team defensively, etc. We know that Thiago and Allegri are different coaches. One was, we don't want the possession, we don't need the possession. If you need to defend recuperating the ball when the other ones will make mistakes and go up, we do it. While Thiago Motta loves to keep that possession. Both of them, they loved balance, but in a different way of interpreting it. Well, Locatelli last year, without possession, was touching way least balls than this year. This year, he's touching way more balls. And also playing and opening with these long balls that Thiago Motta is asking him to do, while Allegri was asking him not to do these long balls. We know it. Last year it was security first. This time when we have the ball, if it goes to Locatelli, we want to try something to go up, which we saw in the last few games. Atalanta, Milan, not that much against Bruges because it was extremely difficult. We saw a Locatelli that this year looks like he transformed himself, but that concept of Locatelli sacrificing himself and sometimes he looks less good than he actually is, it is because he's putting the team first. Look, I'm happy that finally someone is telling it, because I always believe in Locatelli, which didn't mean that he was good and perfect. No, he needed to do better, and the version of Locatelli that we see today, also thanks to Thiago Motta, I'm extremely happy. Now I'm expecting the same for Cope manners. I want the work that has been done on Locatelli to not only think about the team, but still thinking, but also thinking about himself. I want to see that also from Cope manners. Will it happen against Napoli for the first time? Will it happen against Benfica? I don't know, but this is really what I would love to see. The work of Loca on Cope manners. Yeah, of course, the most important thing is that tomorrow we win against Napoli, yeah? Ragazzi, if you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe to the channel, grazie, forza, Juve.